You might think you drop back into old patterns once you started to glimpse a new reality, a new kind of way of living. You may not think about this actively, but the chance of you actually being completely torn away from this previous realization you had is quite high. It happened to all of us, seeing something that seemed so clear. All of a sudden, it seemed so tangible, so real that it almost felt like you're actually living it already. And that can be quite a dangerous thing because you're actually not yet living it. You can start to get it closer to you and start making moves into it, but behaviors are always built on things we always or already did, what we already tried, and there are patterns being formed unknowingly because we just move through them. And to switch them up, one of the biggest challenges I think a human can have, but it's also the biggest probability to grow. Because once you see you're in a certain pattern, which like limits your potential, your growth, your vision, you can start to delve deeper into this thought, into this realization, which is the next step of just moving further. But as life comes with many challenges, as always, it also brings the next challenge right in front of your face. Once you try to move into that new kind of realm. Because what I've seen when trying to move into a new realm, the thing of tapping into new waters may in the beginning be easy. The behavior may be feeling quite great, and because there's so much excitement, there's so much to to see about yourself all of a sudden because you started something new. You're being bombarded by feelings from yourself, which are showing you that you have just moved a step into a direction where you can actually like be you and fulfill so many opportunities within your being, where you just form new kind of connections within yourself. And when doing something new, things are all these feelings are being thrown at you because they're telling you that you're doing something great because you started to do something, started to actually attract a new kind of reality, and you've moved from that realization into an actual doing state where you just started. No matter what it is, no matter how hard it is, you started. But that factor of how hard it is doesn't end there, because it can be quite a big one, a big factor that determines whether you want to go on or not. Because when I tried out things that got too hard after a certain time, I didn't go on. I went back into these patterns that were my comfort zone, that determined how I'm feeling. Because, yeah, comfort zone can also be like a state of mind where you are just being able to lay back on, because it's a known territory, as it says. And stepping out of this known territory can be quite a harsh thing to do. But persisting, being already out of unknown territory while you're moving more and more into this new territory, that is even a bigger challenge than just getting out of your comfort zone. Because things not end at a certain point. When someone says move out of your comfort zone, yeah, okay, you might do that for once, for twice, you might do it for 10 times. But when life comes and plays its acts on you, when life comes and shows how much you gotta do to be able to persevere, to be able to hold on to what you got to see, what you got to realize, is a whole nother level. Because when things are just being thrown at you, because you gotta come up with it, dependencies, mostly in a monetary way, also in an emotional way, maybe. When you haven't quite found a way to cope with certain people which are close to you, which from who you would really like to distance, but you can't because you aren't quite there yet, no matter what it is. These factors can crush down all the growth you might do. And they crush down my growth in so many kind of situations, because starting to do something new, yeah, as mentioned, is cool, is great, feels quite good as well. But actually staying on that track, yeah, that's a completely different game. So yeah, today was just about such a day for me as well, where I got to see I would likely not be able to stick to my routine. I would likely not be able to get out and record a video. But what did I do? I placed myself in a new kind of territory, in, yeah, a space I haven't seen before, in a and told myself that I'll be doing it still, and I'll stick to what my plan is, to get it out as often as I can. And when there are thoughts I can share with you, I'll do that. And I got the thoughts. I just came home. It's already almost 9:30, and like half an hour ago, I made myself dinner. If you would see me any other day, I won't have food after 5, because I just want the time before I'm going to sleep. But now I had to adapt. Been out there for 12 hours, setting up some crazy stuff for a lightning project I had. And yeah, I still show up. And I came here and I set it up because I want to persist. And I want to stick to that one thing. And that is bringing out what's in there. And when I can do it, because I'm giving myself that space, because there is a way, you know? I just opened the box in my room that has been closed since I've moved here, in which there is a light. And at the end of this video, I'll be showing you what I set up here. And this is no kind of sentence as from any other person on YouTube who's saying, I stick to the end, then you'll see this. No, this is also, and not also, this is merely because of the reason I'm only using vintage lenses and they're only manual focus. And when I would move my camera now, I'd be out of focus. And I don't want to get too much off topic. So yeah, I'm placed in this surreal kind of space because I wanted to. I wanted to persist. And even if I would say I would stop it now and do something else or calm myself down or just get the shower I really like to have in the next moment, then it would be okay as well. I could also just stop. And I could also not come up with it in the first place. Why should I need to? I wouldn't need to do this now because it might feel hard. You've been out there for 12 hours, coming home, cannot even follow your schedule. All these thoughts coming up. Oh, I love to film out there in nature with a nice kind of environment around myself where I can also enjoy the feeling of being there. Oh, it's too late for that. Oh, I gotta make something to eat. Oh, things stack up, stack up. Yeah, and these things might have a negative impact on you, and they certainly had on myself for so many times. But what can I change about that in the moment? I know that I'm living in this life where I have this job still because I want to sustain myself on an independent way, in a way where I don't have to worry about anything because everything's just under the hood, and know I can do my own stuff. Out of that time, I gotta commit, and when there's things not working out as I thought, because I gotta work longer, I gotta have a different kind of shift, or or I'll have to work way more to actually be able to wrap this all up, then I'll have to take it like it is. And I could also say, yeah, maybe it's just better to not go for my mission then. Because the mission might be already outplayed by that external source. Your own mission might be defeated on that specific day. On a day where you could have persisted, where you could have moved further with your mission, but something came in your way. And it doesn't only have to be in like an external factor, it can be an internal factor as well. When you come up with certain reasons, when you say yourself, okay, now I'll do it later. Oh, now this is very important. I'm doing this now. And when the day ends, tomorrow. You know, that's like also a thing. But what it does do, what this kind of active procrastination, because you're telling yourself the reasonings why you won't come up with that specific thing you wanted to do and you wanted to persist on, what it does, it takes the spark, it takes the motivation, it takes the drive. And it doesn't need to take the drive. You can also make it the pause and just do the thing tomorrow again. It's no problem. You can do whatever you want. But I think we should be clearer about what we actually want to do and how much of our internal being or these internal factors that we determine for ourselves, or these external impacts should decide on our own movements. Because in the end, we are in charge of making the movements. We are in charge to to approach life as we think it's best. And when not being clear about that certain action you're just doing at the moment because it feels like you just gotta come up with another reason, I don't think this is the right way to go, because you don't need to tell you a reason. You are just you, and you should be very clear about that, because it is just like that. You are you, and you don't have to like argument on anything you want to do or not. So just don't do it. Why should I do it? Why should I try to even find a reason not to do this now? I should listen to what I feel. And what I felt was a deep motivation to just make a video about this exact topic. How I could just not, maybe not even come up with this motivation to do this now. To sit here and get it out. And yeah, I think the more reasons you'll come up with that tell yourself that you have another thing to do now, that reason is big enough for you to not do it now, the more of these reasons stack up, the more you'll fade away from the vision, the more you'll be distancing yourself from that perseverance you already came up with all that persistence you had. Because very deep in you, I think, something knows that you could if you want, but if you don't want it bad enough, you may also not need to do it. So why doing it then? Why staying on the track of persistence? Why trying to fulfill that goal you're having when in the end you're only searching for a reason to not do it in that exact moment? And as mentioned, it doesn't matter if you pause doing something, you have to feel good about it. But you don't need a reason for yourself. And just like with these reasons you come up with for why you're not doing it, which can be concluded by the hardness of approaching that task, or just a general feeling, an emotional state, and an unclear definition for yourself why uh, you should do it now, because you don't have the clarity for where you're moving with it, or just no motivation, little energy. There are many reasons for why you might not try to approach it now. But what I think is such a crucial point, which I'm thinking about just now, is that you gotta let things sink as well. Just as my day needs to sink now as well. I can let this be. I can find pieces in myself to get back on track, to get back to what I was trying to say as well. No, it's great. It's great seeing how much actual determination of doing something does with you, and in which kind of states it brings you, where you're starting to attract even more challenges you've never thought you would see, because you initially thought you would only challenge one thing, but the challenges then all of a sudden stack up, and you see that it's coming with more challenges you weren't prepared for, as the excitement took these actual challenges and the clear thought of these challenges away. And it was just like the thing with me now, where I lost the point because I saw, okay, you're spreading your word, your thought, and you had a long day. Be clear about that. So then the next challenge come. And that challenge can actually also be like a reason why you maybe not come up in the next situation where you don't feel like coming up with the motivation of doing it. Because when you know that you might come up with that initial motivation, which won't last you through the whole process, because there's some challenges coming along the way where you're being thrown back at a state you you don't want to see yourself, then you maybe not grown yet as well to actually attract that change, that progress, that realization that's being moved into the next stage of just living it. And that's no problem at all. But what I think is a very big and crucial point is that you don't forget where these challenges came up with. Because when I don't see in which kind of situations I haven't been able to move on no more, I won't have a clear enough perspective on how I'll be able to maybe sort out other difficulties in a different kind of situation the next time it comes up. Because, yeah, the moments might be very different, but so much can be retrieved of just perceiving or looking at something you are currently experiencing, because you can abstract so much more. You can abstract every little detail if you are willing to understand more. And that brings me back to pursuing the things you love. Because when I see challenge within a challenge, just as I have seen it before, I'll find the reason for that and not a reason to not do it. I'll look at the challenge I had in that specific situation and will try to evaluate and think about what the reason for that challenge was. Because I don't need to start an argument with myself and come up with all these sorts of reasons that might be big enough to not do it now. No, I can also take the word of a reason and apply it onto my situation in the regard where I just want to understand what the problem was about it. And sure, as mentioned, when you don't feel like, because you got other things to do and you want to find your own meat, it is also totally fine. You can do that. But yeah, when there's this spark still, as it was with me today as well, to still do it, to still just sit down at a place where I'm surrounded some sort of with nature and talk, then then that was just enough for me to do it. So I've broadened the topic very much again, but I'll get back to what the essence should be from this one. And I think it is that the challenge you're taking is quite like a wave. Sometimes it's quite low, it's quite still, and sometimes it's all over the place. It's molding in itself. It's flowing and like prickling itself up, and it's a big kind of force. And no matter what and how big the source of that challenge might be, the overall vision of what the challenge is trying to solve shall not be forgotten. Because what's actually beneath these very turbulent waters and waves is a very still life, a very quiet one. Because once you're under the water, being immersed in these different flows, you're not able to see when you're up there looking down on the surface. Then these waters are all of a sudden not that big of a deal, because you see what's underneath that point you're looking at. That is the ground. It can be a reef, it can be something beautiful, but it's tangible because it's the vision that gives you the clarity towards that specific thing. And all of a sudden, you don't recognize what's going on up there on the surface because you're down in these waters. You're being surrounded by all these energies you've worked for because you've surpassed the surface state and gone deeper into this kind of, yeah, sea that has the overall balance in charge of itself, and you're one in it, and you can flow. So seeing a vision, having vision down in these waters is a big thing for me, because I'm always aiming for waters where I can see clear in them. There are also waters where you don't see clear, and that can be pretty much less vision than being on the surface, seeing how the waters are flowing. That's not to compare, but there's a certain perspective that has to be made to actually set that specific kind of state for yourself. So choose for yourself where you want to position yourself in the next moment and how important it is for you. Because when it is important, you'll find a way. You'll find a way to do it. You'll be able to attract that sort of next step you are able to make. And when you're not having an easy time approaching or moving further in these waters, in this vision you are in, you can also just lean back for a second and flow yourself in it. You won't always stand still in the same position no more, as there are also underwater flows that might carry you away. So you still have to do something. Sometimes you may be pushed even further when not doing something, but you can also be pushed in every other direction as well by not approaching something you love. So recharging yourself is important. Knowing that you want to move further and closer to your vision is the overall fuel to make it tangible. And that clarity of such a dream, that can't just be blown off by a day, a period of time where you seemingly don't have the ability to come up with the energies you need to move. Because when you really want it, when you got it crystal clear in front of you, what could be in your hand, then you'll find a way. And it's not easy. It was never meant to be easy. But it's meant to be yours. Because it's what you have told yourself. It's life that's giving you this chance of doing it. And I won't miss that no more. I want to see it clear. I want to feel it clear. I've set myself in these waters where I can see my visions clear. So now it's time to swim in them, to live by them. So that's what I'll do. That's why I won't get distracted no more from my vision. Because I'm in these waters. I know that they'll be clear for some time now. And I'm able to move in them. I can be agile. I can swim wherever I feel like. When I'm not feeling like this the right way, I can turn around, go somewhere else. But this spark of having something you're truly passionate about is also quite an underwater flow that carries you further. So yeah, I think clarity and the determination in oneself of approaching something just eradicates all these challenges that might seem too big, because they aren't. They're never. Life can't play it on you no more once you really know that this light at the end of the tunnel, the end of your own like thing, vision you're encapsulated in, should not be blown out like a candle in a dark room. Should be moved towards. Yeah. So maybe start trying something like that as well, as I just did. Getting yourself ahead of the challenges you're having, the times where you don't think you can come up with a solution because you're tired. But once you did it, it just feels even better. You just done something so outstandingly great. Yeah, I'm happy about another day of doing, another day of showing up, and I hope you can too. And I'll certainly get deeper in a more clear way at other days, but that's what I was able to come up with now, and that's okay. That's fine. And you can feel good about whatever you've come up as well, because that's completely alright. Best you could have done. So be proud of that as well, even though you may not feel too good about what you've accomplished or the results. I could also feel better about more clarity, about more calmness, about another, yeah, about a different kind of location, not sitting here out on my imaginary balcony that isn't even one, it's just a roof. What I'll be showing you in a sec. So, yeah, I wish you can still take something from it, as it's as raw as it can get after a 13-hour workday, still showing up. So now it comes the I'm moving the camera and showing you, so that you can understand what this is here. So here you can see the place I was sitting on. I found this thing when I lived in Vienna and stored it in the same box as the light I am placed here on my window. It's quite a ridiculous setup. Window facing onto the light. And yeah, you may be able to see the mountains back there before. Now they're quite dark. Yeah, that's where I'm living. That is no balcony, this is just a roof. It was quite an urban kind of little setup I made myself here. So yeah, it was quite good. Lighting, I need more diffusion, but I make lights for film productions, not having a diffusion at home. So yeah, wish you all the best. See you very soon.